All right. So the time has come to make an announcement on this show. But first, before we no, here, put him back on hold. Yeah, he doesn't need to be talking while I'm talking.
Because that would kind of ruin the bit here.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because I haven't introduced who he is. I'm sure I'm going to get a text from him in just a moment. But let me walk you through the process because huge thanks to all of our listeners, wherever you might consume this radio station, in particular this time slot, because y'all are loyal. And it's been a radio station that, for example, Josh, John, and myself have all been here for over 10 years. You know, Connor and Josh now have been together. Um, there's a lot of familiarity, and we don't like change. And we went through a stretch on the zone where we had a lot of change, and I've been part of the change a few times, and we had another change. And through it all, I can't thank our listeners enough that have stuck with us, whether you like us or not. But you're there for us, and hopefully, we're there for you.
Shout out Stream community. You guys are great.
So a little bit of transparency here because I'm not going to BS. When I was informed that we were going a different direction for the morning show, my first reaction was, "What are we going to do?" And then why it happened, what are we going to do, and who are we going to look for? And there are a lot of talented people that are either here in the Omaha market or in the Lincoln market that I think are really, really good. But I'm here to tell you that the person you're going to hear from here in a little bit, and you will hear every morning from 6 to 10, is the best of the best, in my opinion. We got together, myself, local management, corporate management, and we discussed options. And there were a few names that were mentioned, people that I know, that I'm familiar with, that I think are really, really good at what they do. But we kept coming back to one person. And that person that I have actually known for a while.
Oh, you're letting the cat out of the bag, Gary. It's not Hawk Tua. Damn.
No. Somebody who, well, he'll explain it, has been part of the NRG family, is extremely talented. I truly believe that he is going to be an absolute star in this business. He is fresh. He is young. He is excited. He's got great ideas. He's a conversationalist.
So
he is
Neil's
not.
out?
He is not afraid to share opinions. He is also not afraid to share the fact that he lives with his parents right now, and is very sheltered and doesn't know much about a lot of things that have nothing to do with sports.
Oh, you're going to corrupt him.
So everybody, you're going to have to deal with the transition. But we came back to this one person, and I said, "This is the guy that I would like to sit next to me." I know, I see this. So,
I mean, he's young.
Monday morning at 6 a.m. It's also a different name for the show. The show will be called Gary and Matt. And I'd like to introduce you to my new co-host, Matt McMaster, who joins us now from his parents' house.
I'm actually joining you
live from the basement
from my car here, Mr. Gary Sharp. First off, I want to say, hell of an intro from you. Those, I think, were the nicest things you've ever said about me. So I greatly
Wait a minute.
appreciate it.
I'm scrolling back through our text messages.
I thought you liked him.
I've said it. Hey, you're the one that said negative things about Marcus Satterfield, not me.
Oh, hey, we're trying to start off on a good note here, dude. I'm not trying to ruffle any feathers yet before I even get into the market. All right, I haven't even moved. I'm still living with my parents, like you said. You know, I can't be saying anything bad yet. But like you said, look, it's a hell of an opportunity. I first want to say that I have a tremendous amount of respect for Nick Hanley, your former host, and
Thank you.
I don't know Nick personally, but I know a lot of people who have been affected by Nick and who love Nick and who have just talked about how great of a mentor he's been to them, coming from the UNL College of Journalism, like I've just recently have a couple months ago. And so I have so much respect for him, and it's definitely big shoes to fill.
What happened?
Hello?
Did the parents cut off the line? Did they walk in the door?
Did I lose you there?
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Did I lose you?
Did you get
I just
choked
got
up?
put on hold. Yeah, sorry, I just got put on hold.
By
Well,
who?
like I said, I don't know. It said I got put on hold.
Do you have fat cheeks?
I have no clue.
Why are you not? Are you like in the garage in your car?
No, I'm in my car. Do I not sound good?
No, you sound fine. But why did you have to go in your car? You'd wake up mom and dad?
No, it's just because I know I'm comfortable when I take conversations in my car. So it's like I don't have an office or a desk or anything, and I don't want to walk around the house, so I go into my car.
Right.
I was saying some very nice things about people and making a nice speech, and now you're interrupting me. Now you're making fun of me again. Can I finish?
You can finish.
Damn.
I wanted to set you up. I mean, we were listening, and then all of a sudden you disappeared.
Tremendous amount of respect to Nick Hanley. Big shoes to fill, but like you said, it's going to be a new show. It's going to have a lot of energy. We're going to be talking to each other. We're going to have really deep and intellectual and sport conversations, and then we're going to have moments where we're yelling at each other, and you don't know if we're actually pissed at one another. So I can't wait for it, and I can't wait to get back into a market and get back into a state that I fell in love with. You know, I'm from Chicago. Born and raised in Chicago, love Chicago, but I went to the University of Nebraska-Lincoln 4 years ago, and I just absolutely fell in love with Nebraska. I fell in love with the people. I fell in love with the pride and the passion that all of these just good humans have for sports and just the ability to bring people together through that medium. So I'm just so excited and so happy to come back to that and to host on the radio, something I love doing with you, Gary, someone that truly is a mentor of mine in this crazy industry. And it's truly an opportunity of a lifetime for me.
Well, I appreciate that. You know, I don't know how we became. So our first interaction. Would you like to explain to our listeners our first interaction? Happened at a Nebraska football game.
Oh, this should be good.
I not a college football guy. Okay?
That's not good to say coming on to 1620.
No, listen. At the time, not a college football guy. And so I got a job at KLIN over in Lincoln, with working very closely with my good friend Caleb Henry. And Caleb had mentioned to me, he goes, would you like to come to the Nebraska football games? You know, just come, sit down, whatever, write, do an article or two, and kind of experience it. And I said, okay, well, why not? And KLIN sits next to 1620 The Zone. And at some point, I'm sitting next to you, and I hear your loud mouth, and I just start talking to you and rattling off, and we're going back and forth, and you're so interested in the fact that I'm not from Nebraska, that I'm from Chicago.
You like people.
That you start quizzing me on the former Big 12 and the Southwest Conference, and start spitballing college football trivia from when I wasn't even born yet. You're talking about stuff from the 80s and 90s. I was born in 2002. Okay?
I remember that.
So then I feel like we got off to a sour note there because you definitely thought this kid doesn't know anything.
Well, it also coincided with Bishop and I could name, without looking in the media guide, every 1,000-yard rusher at Nebraska.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. I couldn't. So I think you two were baffled at the fact that KLIN hired such an outsider, in which that was a big moment for me as well, because I knew I had to do a lot of studying, which I've done. Now I'm educated. Now I'm ready. Now I am the biggest college football guy. I love college football, and that's something that, obviously we're going to be talking a ton about on the show. And also look, hey, how about those Blue Jays yesterday, Gary? I know we're Nebraska guys, but they looked great yesterday. I mean, I cannot wait to get on the air and talk about all these great teams and all these great programs and all of these sports that these listeners care so much about. And that's my thing. I've never really worried about going somewhere that has a big metropolitan area, that has a big market, that has anything like that. I've always worried about going to a place where people care, and people care in Nebraska, and that's where I want to be. And I'm just so excited to come back to that.
Well, you know how I feel about you, so I'm looking forward to this. I can't wait. People are wondering, so can you give a little bit of your background at 22 years old?
Well, so I started
Young
broad.
Matt.
I remember 22.
I started broadcasting at 15 years old in high school, but truth be told, I told my dad at 10 that I wanted to be a broadcaster. I mean, we would watch the Cubs games and we would turn off the volume and we would, grab spoons, literal spoons and announce games. And so this has been a passion of mine. And like, I never came home and watched cartoons. Like I came home and I watched Sports Center and then I watched PTI. And then after that was Around the Horn. And then it was the 5 o'clock version of Sports Center. Then we watched, the Cubs, right? I mean, that was my life. And then started broadcasting at 15. Got tipped off about Nebraska my senior year of high school and that they have a really good broadcasting program. Went to Nebraska, met Rick Alloway, who
Legend.
said to me, "We're going to put you on the radio. We can put you on like tomorrow." I go, "Great." I had my own show for 2 years. I then met Michael Severe. And I told Michael that I wanted to be in radio. I wanted to be a host. And he made a call to Jack Mitchell at KLIN. And Jack kind of set me up with Caleb and Steve King. And they hired me over there. And then I spent, I think, over 2 years there. And I worked from being like their kind of like Sunday news junkie, right? Like I did the Sunday shift for news that no one else wanted to do, to going to press conferences, to writing articles, to doing the Husker Max practice reports, to doing the 5 o'clock sports, to making great relationships with people in the Nebraska athletic department that I cannot wait to reignite. I cannot wait to see Keith Mann again and talk to Keith and all those people over there and all the SIDs and whatnot. And so it's just kind of my background is like, I love it. Like, this is my life. Broadcasting is what I do. It's kind of the ethos of just who I am. And so I'm just addicted to it. I think about it way too much. I pace around my parents' house where I don't pay rent and think about radio all the time. And then, yeah, I mean, I truthfully, like, I'm not trying to butter up and kiss the butts of the people that are going to be listening to us for hopefully a very long time, Gary. Like, I truly love the state of Nebraska. I truly love just the Nebraska nice, the pride that people have living there, the fact that to be born from Nebraska means something. And so I love broadcasting. I've worked my way up in Nebraska, worked my way up to the point in Nebraska where I'm very familiar of what's going on and what's important, what's not important. I'm just so happy and blessed I get to come back and broadcast on a platform that's so big that you and so many others have built for a very long time.
I'm just excited about the coffee maker you're bringing to this. I've been crying for this for 2 years.
Gary, I don't, Jimmy and I already talked about it. First paycheck, I'm getting to Keurig. We need to, I mean, that was my number one complaint of when I came in and filled in a couple months ago. I mean, we need to have coffee on the ASAP. You already tell me I'm not a morning person. If I'm going to be hosting at 6 a.m., that's my contribution.
I already like it.
I like that.
We got a space for it right there in the corner.
There you go.
People would like you to give some hot takes before you get on the air on Monday morning. You got any hot takes on anything?
I'll say this, and I've kind of been listening to the show. I haven't been listening to all the show this whole week, trying to pack up and get ready. So if this was already said, I apologize. But I think it's safe to say that Matt Rule's first go-around at hiring coaches was an abject failure. Just an absolute dud, his first go-around. I mean, we can kind of go down the list, right? And I was trying to save this for Monday. But, Bob Wager tight ends coach, doesn't even make it to the first game of the first season, right? You go through the first season. Satterfield basically is relieved of his duties as quarterbacks coach, moved to tight ends coach. You bring in Glenn Thomas, who's the quarterbacks coach, right? And the jury's still on what Glenn has done, but already you fired a guy and then you moved a guy from quarterbacks to tight ends. And then at the end, or before the beginning of year 2, Evan Cooper resigns, right? So there goes your DBs coach. And then at the end of year 2, your wide receivers coach, Garrett McGuire, who I think got a little bit too much flack. Regardless, the guy that they brought in, for him, I think is better. But McGuire, no longer your wide receivers coach. And then Terrence Knighton and Tony White, I think your two home run hires, decide that there are greener pastures at a 2-9 ACC Florida State team, and they would rather coach there than coach in one of the what we are calling the Power 2 conferences at a historic program. And so I think when you go down the list, you got three guys left from that original hiring process. Donovan Raiola, who wasn't even a hire, he was a retention. Rob Dvorak, who I think has done a really good job as a linebackers coach. But then the third one is Ed Foley, who has manned one of the worst special teams units in back-to-back years at the University of Nebraska. And when you're talking about chasing three, right? We're chasing three. We're chasing 3 points. We're trying to win these close games. What do these close games come down to, Dare? Come down to special teams.
Special teams.
So to have that guy still around and have him manning that station, honestly, at this point to me is a little bit baffling. I think that, he's a veteran coach with a lot of insight, but I don't know if that's the right position for him now. But regardless of all of that, my hot take is Matt Rhule failed unequivocally, without a doubt, failed his first go around as the head coach hiring assistants. And if he fails again, Gare, it might be lights out. It might be sayonara. It might be done, because you don't get too many chances to re-rack the deck. So
you think Holgorsen saved him?
I think Holgorsen could save him. My thing with Holgorsen is I watch his offense, and I think his offense wants to score points. I watched Satterfield's offense. I didn't know if Satterfield's offense wanted to score points. Satterfield's offense was way more predicated on time of possession and holding the ball and trying to make it easier on the defense to play defense. I don't think it was predicated on, hey, let's get this ball in the end zone. You watch the tempo and the plays that are called and the rapidness in which Dylan is playing at. It's clear that Holgorsen wants one thing. He only wants to get one thing done. He wants to put the ball in the end zone, and that's how you win games. But yeah, I think he did.
So I wanted to bring this up, but I'm glad you went there. For people that don't know who this is, get used to him because the talented Matt McMaster is going to be part of Gary and Matt beginning on Monday morning at 6 a.m. So do you think? I can't believe I'm interviewing you. We're supposed to have a conversation.
I know. This is a little
we're
weird.
Like coach,
it's a conversation.
Yeah. I'll throw it back to you here.
Do you know there was a famous song that had that line in it?
Throw it back. Do you?
I'll explain to you later.
I don't.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
We got
to work to the list.
Yeah, the pop culture stuff is going to be kind of interesting.
Kids are listening.
Yeah.
Probably don't need to. Throw it back.
But are we going to see a switcheroo in 2025? And we're in agreement that you gotta hit it right on the defensive side because it's not only going to be the DC, but if it's Butler, then you probably got to get a DB coach. They have their sights set on a defensive line coach, but the switcheroo where the offense is going to put up points. You just said something that I'm nodding in agreement. Is Satterfield's offense made it easy to play defense?
Yeah.
Where now will Holgorsen's offense make it a little bit more difficult to play defense because they want to score points and they want to score quick?
I don't think the Nebraska football is a 6-6 football team. No,
thank you.
Right?
What? Yeah.
Like I don't. These are issues that Georgia and Alabama and big schools need to be talking about, right? Whether or not they need to take their time into scoring points. Nebraska football just needs to score. I don't care. I don't think anyone should care the pace they do it and the rapidness they do it, whether or not it helps the defense or not. They just got to go out there and play football. I think that sometimes, and I don't know, if you disagree, let me know, but that's a micro issue where it's like the macro is just score 28 points and win the football game, Just figure it out. Just win. Just win. I don't care. I don't care how they do it. I don't care if they score 45, if the score is 45 to 38. I don't care if the score is 13 to 10, and neither should they. They just need to find the best way to win football games. So, I don't know. Have you lost? So I'll ask you this question. And another thing I was saving for Monday. Where's your confidence meter at Rhule at this point after a 5-7 season and a 6-6 season? Are you still as confident now as you were at the beginning of the year? Are you still subscribe to the fact that this is going to be a long process considering what he had to build this from?
Well, you know this because we've already done
Yeah.
multiple shows via phone calls.
Sure.
I think you have to judge him in different areas of his program. I think he's got his
Yeah.
strengths. I don't know that the Saturdays is his strength. We're on hold again.
No, wait. I got you.
Processing.
You there?
So
Yeah.
there is
Saturday.
the transition because of the way that college football is going. I think he's
Sure.
positioned very well to be the head of the program as the CEO. But you got to hit higher. You got to hit home runs with hires or people that you trust, that you let them do their job. You don't meddle, and you chime in because you're still the head coach and it's your butt that's on the line. But you are the top of the food chain, and it works down like in a pyramid. But I think on
Sure.
Saturday, Matt Rule's got to get better on Saturday, whether it be as a whole with adjustments, clock management, all of those kind of things. So I think when you're saying, do you trust, and then just say Matt Rule, I say, well, I think there are multiple layers to that. Is there trust and faith? Is that the same thing about what they're going to do moving forward? I mean, there are some things that I think Matt Rule physically can't do to improve Nebraska football, because I think there are some things that right now are ingrained in the program that there's going to be one day where they finally leave and you get over the hump and you never look back. But that seems still a ways away. And that is the PTSD that is infiltrated in this program that has been here for multiple coaching staffs.
I just don't understand. Like, if you don't trust them on Saturday, then you don't trust them. Like, because that's my thing that I'm getting down to the point with him, is because I like him, and he's a good man, and I think he's doing the right things for people, and he's got a good head on his shoulders, and I think he's got the right mindset in terms of, he's still in the new age of college football, right? With the transfer portal, NIL, and I think he's adjusted to that. But his message has always been the same since the minute he walked in here. It's young men, and we want to turn them into grown men, and we want to do what's best for their lives. And I think that's the exact right message and something that college football is missing. And so I respect the heck out of him for all of that. But, Gare, if you're saying that you don't trust him on Saturday, then you don't trust him, because nothing matters other than Saturday. And I think that's something that I've learned over the last couple of years here, because he wins on Mondays. He wins on Tuesdays. He wins on Thursdays when he goes to those press conferences. I've seen almost up until this season when, I went back home to Chicago, those first 2 years, I went to every single one of them. It's incredible. It's a sermon on football. It's hard not to fall in love with the guy when you're there listening to him just talking about the sport you love so much in such a articulate way, right? He wins on all the weekdays. But what's the record say? The record says what you do on Saturday. And so I push back on you, Gare. If you don't trust him on Saturdays, I don't think you trust him at all.
So then you make hires that take care of Saturday, and all your work is put in Monday through Friday. I know what you're saying about coaches are paid to win on Saturday. Coaches are paid to put together a program that wins on Saturday. Doesn't just win because you're the head coach.
Are you sitting there though thinking like, we're paying this guy upwards of $70 million, and now we have to bring in all these guys that it's like they have to make sure that he wins on Saturdays? Like, shouldn't that already be covered in the bill?
Well, how many guys you think are at the top of their profession that win Monday through Friday and then win on Saturday consistently? Very few, right?
Very few.
Because part of your job as a
this
coach
day and
is who you hire.
Yeah. In this day and age, I could have told you. I mean, I don't think we're going to see too many undefeated seasons from here on out in this day and age of college football. And so I think, Dan Lanning probably is the one that comes to mind immediately. But yeah, I think that's a great point. But I look, I don't want this to be misconstrued as like the guy doesn't like Rule, he doesn't believe in Rule, or
pretty
anything
clear
like
that you're laying the groundwork.
He's got a hot board already.
I do. I trust him. I love him. I like him. I think he's a good football coach. But it's like it's hard for you to have what? So they've played 24 games and they're 22 or do the math here. 6-6.
11
They're
and
11 and 13, right? I mean, I haven't. There's no faith lost. I think that whatever you think the mountaintop is for Nebraska, whatever you think that they can accomplish, I think that Matt Rule has them on a path to get there better than any coach since Frank Solich. Okay, I don't think you can doubt that or argue that whatsoever. But it's 24 games. He's 11 and 13. I still think it's valid to sit there and be like, man, I don't know. Like, this may not work out.
Yep.
A year ago, I would have told you there's no way this doesn't work out. A year ago, I would have told you this guy's got it. There's no way that this dude who's this smart, who's this passionate, who's got this vision for this team is going to fail. And then after seeing them go 6-6 and start the season 5-1 and then fall off the way that they did, you can now see it where it's like, man, this may not work out. Do I think it will? Yeah. But it's hard for me to still have the same amount of confidence in him after the season that they've had, and I do think that it is a concerning point that a guy like you is saying, well, I don't know if I trust him that much on Saturday. Because that's the business. The business is Saturday. It's no other day than that.
Well, we're going to continue this conversation on Monday because I think it's more than just Saturday these days. It is.
It's a big part. I mean,
I said this before you knew you were going to join 1620, and you had no desire to listen to the mornings on this radio station.
Thanks for listening, Matt.
You're welcome.
But Matt Rule does a very good job January through July. I mean, yes. I think a really, really good job.
Mm-hmm.
I need August through December to be the next thing.
I disagree. I just need November. I just need November. It's not even just give me a good November. I think that's where they got to start. I mean, that's the killer month, and he came into this program talking about we got to win in November, and still doesn't have a good record in that month. So yeah, but I agree with you. You're right. He's great in the offseason.
All right,
but
go ahead.
You don't pay him for that.
No. I'm being told that we have to get rid of you.
Already?
Damn.
I like him.
Yeah, because we got to hit you're going to find out that you got to hit these commercial breaks.
Oh, get rid of. Okay.
All right. And you just rambled for a long time. You said a lot of really good stuff, but you just talked a lot.
You were interviewing me. You were asking me interview questions.
Yeah, it was very awkward. It was very awkward.
You're telling me to tell my story. I told my story.
I know.
Ridiculous.
What your story is ridiculous?
Your path, and then I get hammered for following your path. I feel like this is going to be a common theme for a very long time.
It's going to be like father son.
No, I already have that. You gotta get in line.
Hey, congratulations!
Hey, thank you.
People will catch on to our sarcasm pretty quick.
Hopefully.
No wonder I like it.
Yeah, people are like, are they already fighting?
Hey, make sure they give you a key in a mailbox. You'll get a mailbox, but make sure you get a key.
I can't wait to read the Husker Online Red Sea Scrolls after this. It's gonna be a hell of a time.
They're like, geez, they don't like each other.
We got that on the stream already. Oh no, friction.
Oh no, there's turmoil. What are they gonna
do? You know what? You should stay in Chicago. You shouldn't have left ESPN Chicago.
Shoot, I mean, I like waking up with my laundry done and food made for me and not paying rent. I'm going to tell you right now. I mean, it's a good life I live over here, but I'm willing to leave it for such a great opportunity to host with a really good friend, and I really look forward to it. And I look forward to working with you too, Jimmy.
Oh, sure. Thank you. Hey, Matt and I visited yesterday. We had a good visit.
Hey, congratulations. We are excited inside the building and outside the building to have Gary and Matt debuting at 6 a.m. on Monday.
Can't wait for it. Can't wait for it, brother. Going to be a great time.
All right. Safe travels to Omaha. We'll see you on Monday.
Yep. See you on Monday.
6 a.m. Monday morning, Gary and